Yo, 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 what is going on? Another Tuesday night, a little bit earlier than normal, but hey, we got the Hockey Happy Hour coming at you live. Tonight, we're going to do a little preview of the Carolina Hurricanes game tomorrow night. We're going to recap a little bit more of what the Flyers did on their West Coast road trip as they close it out against the Carolina Hurricanes tomorrow. We're going to talk about the Hockey Hall of Fame. 2003 induction ceremony was over this weekend, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Some other major news and notes going on around the league, and so much more. So, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get your comments in here. Let's go. It's time to talk some puck.
What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Slap.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour, live on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sitsuti, along with the Dark Wing, Brian Daly.
What's going on? Got the Ducks on the TV tonight. Let's go.
All right, taking on the Catfish people's favorite team, the Nashville Predators, and the broken one himself, Rob Povia.
The revenge tour continues. Let's go.
And we should have Brad, Mr. Blue Shirt, Mr. Broadway, Mr. Switzerland. He should show up in a little bit in the show. We'll keep you guys posted on that. He might pop in before you know it for his shift when we do a line change. Anyway, so today, as always, the Hockey Happy Hour brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. If you got any aches and pains that are bothering you so bad that it's causing you problems at work and at home, hit the doc up. You can make an appointment with him at www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And then after you do that, you can go to either Cherry Hill or Burlington, New Jersey, and they can have one of their highly trained professional teams take care of any of those aches and pains that you may be feeling. So that way, when you get back to work and when you get back to doing whatever it is you like to do in your spare time, you'll feel like new and you'll feel great while doing it. And that is the key to being happy in life, is feeling good. So, Specialized Physical Therapy, that's where you go to the doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. All right. And the poll question brought to you once again by Baggio's Bread. If you have any big parties you're planning, if maybe you want to watch a hockey game with your friends, or maybe you want to watch March Madness when it rolls around, or maybe you want to watch a football game on Sunday, no matter what team it is you wish to watch, whether it's the Eagles or not, Baggio's Bread's the best place to get the food for that party. Located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D for 10% off of your in-store purchase. That's not a bad deal right there for some good food. And that's Baggio's Bread. All right. And so, with that, the poll question is, the Flyers will finish the road trip 2-2. Agree or disagree? The Flyers, through their California swing, they managed to somehow lose to the San Jose Sharks and have the lovable adage of being the first team to lose to a team that had gotten 10 spots dropped on them 2 games in a row. And were playing so badly that Mike Greer pulled them into a room and said, cut the shit. And next thing you know, here they are in the flesh, beating the Flyers. 2-1 the final score with Mackenzie Blackwood. I'm still stunned by that. I didn't really know how to feel about that. I was like, you know, guys, you could have waited a game to get your first win. You had to get it on Philly.
You knew it was going to happen, Matty. We talked so much shit about Mackenzie Blackwood last show that he was just going to stick it right up our keister. You knew it. You knew it was going to happen. And that's my one cuss of the show. That's it. That's all you get from me, right? But I'm just fired up from this puck drop tonight, boys. So I'm going to jump in right away, and I'm going to disagree. I say the Flyers win this last game and go 3-1 on this road trip because, as I said before, this trip has been the revenge tour, avenging bad home losses by delivering some to the home Ducks and Kings and hopefully the Carolina Hurricanes. I expect that to continue this week because I love how the Flyers are rolling their lines right now. Frost, a lot of debate on whether, like you're not giving him enough time to really match rate. Well, he's been getting run at that top 6, fashion by Torts, and he's finally responding on the score sheet. But also on the defense, boys, you're getting depth behind the top line, and even an older pairing like Walker and Sealer have been very fine during this road trip, delivering timely hits, pushing the puck up the ice with crisp passing, which we didn't see the past 2 seasons. And then defensemen like him, as well as Del Pito jumping in on offense. If the Canes are expecting the same squad as the October 30th loss, well, they might be correct because the Flyers also played them hard until that late Teravainen goal put Carolina up 3-2. I think Philly will have the revenge again as they're playing even better right now.
Okay.
Matt.
I love it.
I do like that. The fire you were bringing to the table.
That's a revenge tour. It's taken. I mean, old friend Rod Brendamore. It's a tougher task. You're talking about teams like the Ducks and the Kings, right? Kings have been up there, but they're still, they're trying to find their way back into the playoffs. The Ducks trying to find their way back into the conversation for the playoffs. They proved pretty well back in Philadelphia. And, Leo Carlson looked pretty damn good in that game, Brian, even in the defeat.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special player, and I'm starting to see why Verbeek took him. He's scratched tonight, though, doing a little, what's it called? What do they call it? Load management. Kids played a ton of hockey over the span of the last few months, including dealing with the draft, dealing with everything else. He's just had so much hockey, so he's getting the night off. But yeah, I mean, to jump in on the face-off here, I think it is going to be a 2-2 road trip for them. I think they're gonna put up a fight against Carolina. I think Carolina proved a little bit that they know when to press, they know when to make the timely moves, make the plays that matter. I still think the Flyers still have a lot to learn on a lot of things. They've played some great hockey, especially on the back end of this road trip here. You saw it in Anaheim, you saw it in LA. They started crashing the net. They started putting guys in front, and they started scoring goals that way. Morgan Frost got on the board. 2 goals against LA, I believe. Owen Tippett, 3
Morgan
goals in those
Frost.
2 games. Yeah. So they're finding ways to score goals, and the guys that they need to score are starting to find their little groove there. So hopefully it continues against Carolina. I would love to be wrong, and they go 3-1 on what Robbie's calling the revenge tour. But I mean, Carolina is a good team. They're a contender for a reason. Yeah. They got a really strong defense over there. Let's just see where it goes. The guys got to take it a period at a time, shift at a time, and they'll be good to go.
I'll jump back in real quick. I mean, that's what's been key, right? We got Owen Tippett for the captain, Claude Giroux, chiming in with just looking strong with 3 goals in the last 2 games. And then Morgan Frost really delivering on the score sheet too. Because, Brian, a lot of heat's been thrown Tortorella's way, but as we're seeing with Leo Carlson, you got to have some load management with our kids too. With Bobby Brink, we saw him scratch last game as Ryan Poehling came back into the lineup. That's the good versatility because you got Scotty Lawton with his cape on that can go from center to wing just like that. You can give a rest to a guy on the 4th line that's been playing well, or you can give a rest to the young pups like Brink, Forrester. I don't think you're resting Farabee right now. That is what the key difference has been for this Philadelphia Flyers team. Joel Farabee healthy and coming into his own.
No, I totally agree. And load management is key, especially for the young guys. You don't want to necessarily do it for some of the vets because they don't have to worry about as much. But between the Swedish leagues, between the draft, between training camp, exhibition games, some other things going on, guys like Leo Carlson played a lot of hockey in the span of 2 months. So he needs the rest. I mean, yeah, absolutely give Brink a day here and there, give Frost a day here and there, let these guys kind of get their head back, get their head straight. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's a good thing. But, after this year, obviously, you kind of want to get younger guys in there and you want them to play full 82 because you're going to be relying on guys like Leo Carlson, Bobby Brink, Joel Farabee, because they're going to be big parts of their team's offenses. and they're going to be big parts of why their team finds success offensively.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think that this trip, for my opinion, I'm going to give this one, and you know what? I'm going to do something none of you are probably going to say. I will be the lone one, and I don't care. I'm going to disagree. Flyers will not finish with a 2-2 record on this road trip. Oh, no. The Flyers are going to beat the Hurricanes in their building. And they're going to... Yes, they're going to beat them Hurricanes, and they're going to show that, you know what? Hurricanes don't mean a damn thing to this Flyer squad. Just like, ha, you guys are a cup contender. You can't even beat us. Get out of here. You guys go to the Eastern Conference Finals and choke again. Anyway.
You're not on an island, man. That's my exact argument here. And I think that this team can really perform, and they're going to have their shortcomings. It's going to happen from time to time. It's a younger squad. It's a rebuilding squad, right? But you got to look at the way they're playing right now. They're playing with a ton of confidence, Brad. Welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I had a little pressing problem that I had to deal with, and I'm done now.
No worries.
I made it at 7:59, so no worries. And 30 seconds, I believe.
Did Big Bad Brad have to come out and handle some business?
Well, yeah, sort of. Well, in a way, yeah.
Oh, so how do you feel about this road trip here, man? You looking at a 2-2 or no?
I want to see 3-1.
Okay.
I mean, you know how much I hate the Hurricanes, so I can't stand that team. Dirty, filthy bunch of scumbags. Screw them.
Well, correction. It's a dirty, filthy bunch of jerks. So
okay.
I see what you did there.
Okay,
Yay.
yeah, that'll work. Yeah, okay. Got it. Yeah. I didn't like Aho and that sneaky knee crap that he pulled on Fox, and now we lose Fox for a month. The heck with him. Okay, yes for Fox, cheap shotting Philip Hedl. I mean, if you're going to cheap shot somebody, why don't you cheap shot somebody good? I mean, why him of all guys? So, and then the nerve of Aho when he's challenged to fight. I mean, he runs away like a frightened child. Like he saw. I mean, Trouba came over to him to try to fight him, and he must have thought he saw a ghost the way he was running away. I mean, you want to lay a hit. You want to be a big man. Sometimes you need to put up your dukes and fight, not run away and be a crybaby. So you know what?
Hell yeah.
I don't want the Flyers to just beat them. I want them to maul them. I want them to remember who they're playing. I want to see Nick Delorier and Garnett Hathaway hit Aho so hard with so many rights that he's going to be begging for a left. Okay,
fire me up, Brad.
Yeah, I want to
go.
I want to see that team embarrassed.
Rob, I think the camera just went up a little bit.
Karma is a Karma is a because you know what? You go and you cheap shot 2 Rangers, and now all of a sudden your goalie's going to be out for like 2 or 3 months. And nothing personal. I like Freddie Anderson, and I hope he's okay. But you know what? This is what happens when you start cheap shotting. The hockey gods know what's going on. Okay, and when you do stuff like that, okay, they know. That's all I can say. They know, and I hope Freddie Anderson's okay. As I said, nothing personal about Freddie Anderson. I never had a bad thing to say about him ever in my life, ever. Other than the fact that I think he's not a big game goalie, but that's not personal. That's just fact.
I second that.
So yeah, he just doesn't. I've said it for years. He's pretty good in the regular season, but when it comes to a big spot, and that goes back to when he played with you guys, Brian, never gets the job done in a big spot ever.
That's why I agree with you. He's definitely not a big game goalie, and we've seen it, especially when it comes to Game 7s.
When it comes to any really, really big game, if he has to keep his team in the game in the playoffs, it never happens. He's a good bully goalie. Like when that team was running a roughshod over the Devils last year in the playoffs, yeah, he stood on his head and he was great. But you know what? wasn't so good against Florida. And they lost. I think the Canes lost every game by 1 goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much. It was like
Yeah,
one or two
I don't
goals.
think I don't think they got routed in any game, but that's Freddie and the Flyers. I'm really impressed the fact that they went into Los Angeles and beat the Kings, and I get it. I think I've mentioned this before to you guys. Whatever goes on in Los Angeles with the Flyers in LA, I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it seems like they always win in Los Angeles ever since I was 10 years old and I started watching hockey. In the first year of expansion, it seems like they always win there. And I think I mentioned that, and then you guys looked it up, and it's still true. I mean, beating Los Angeles, to me, that was an impressive win. Okay, that was a quality win. You've got a couple of those quality wins. You beat a very, very good Vancouver Canuck team, right? I mean, I think you shut him out, didn't you?
Who?
At home, Vancouver.
Mm-mm.
Didn't the Flyers beat Vancouver at home earlier in the season? I know they shut out Edmonton, but then they beat Vancouver the next game.
They beat Vancouver. They didn't shut them out though.
Right, but they beat they beat Vancouver. Yeah, they beat Los Angeles. I mean, those are 2 quality wins. I think.
Oh no! I'm sorry, you're correct. Wow, I'm spacing out. It was a 2-0 shutout. That's right.
Thank you.
Back on October 17th.
So I was right. Okay,
You're right. You're right.
There you go. You go me. I'm not supposed to know that, and you guys not know that, guys.
I know. I'm looking down at my phone too much. That's what my problem is right now. Try to comment to the family.
Listen, they have done a nice job against the better teams. They've really they seem to play up or down to the other team's level. Rob Brinkman wants to know what happened to your first round pick, Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes is supposed to be back for the Rangers. So just to let you know, I heard that today. So, hopefully the Rangers can beat them when he's I'd rather the Rangers play them with him in the lineup, because if they beat the Devils with him in the lineup, it kind of really enforces how good they've been this year. So I want him in there.
Okay,
But guys at 3-1 for the Flyers.
All right. So I looked it up. The last time the Flyers lost to the Kings in LA, it was January 1st of 2022. They lost 6-3.
Okay. But their record in Los Angeles.
Oh, it's good. Their overall history in LA, they are 46-26-8. Which is including ties and OTLs.
Okay. There you go. So it's not my imagination then.
No, it is not. You're on the money.
Yeah, they have always. I mean, the only other thing I can compare it to is the Rangers with St. Louis at the Garden. With domination, because it's bizarre what kind of and LA has had some really, really good teams in the past.
They have. By the way, you want to know when the last hat trick that one of the Flyers pulled on the Kings? Ooh. It was in 1992 on December 29th, and it was Hot Rod himself who actually got it for the Flyers. And the Flyers won that night 10-2 over the Kings. 10-2. And remember, this is in 1992, so the Kings still had Gretzky at the time. So
they were good. They were really good then.
Yeah, Kelly Rudy was a net. He was the one who suffered that. So, you can have your opinions on Kelly Rudy as a goaltender. Anyway. Hey, what's up, Swoopy? Okay, gents. So that's our opinions on there. I'm 3-1. Rob's 3-1. Brad's 3-1. Bri, were you 2-2?
Yeah, I'll go 2-2. I mean, initially, I do think they are going to be 2-2, but if they do end up going 3-1, I'm not going to be upset. But ultimately, I think the Flyers will, come back to reality a little bit, playing the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay. All right, then.
You've got to play patient, guys.
That is
true. You've got to be very, very patient with that team, because that team will make mistakes, but you've got to play their kind of hockey. You've got to just cover your guys, play good defense, and wait. And they will make mistakes, and especially without Anderson in net all the time, you're going to be able to score on them. So just try to play well defensively, back check well, keep the puck out of the middle of the ice. The whole 9 yards, and let's see a Flyer win in Carolina.
By the way, Swoopy, he's checking up on you, Brad. He's wondering if you're all refreshed and if you're okay tonight.
Everything came out just fine.
He's very concerned for you.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
What's up, Wills?
Really?
And then Sean Spellman saying, Rob, I know this is hockey, but the Giants suck dick worse than a Kardashian in an NBA locker room. Fire Kafka. Bench Barkley rest of the year. Bring Danny DeVito out to be an honorary ring tosser. See you, buddy.
Well, I mean, might as well, right? At this point, I mean, you're on your third string quarterback. I mean, not right has gone well for the New York Giants this year. Not much has gone well for, New York football in general in New Jersey.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not much has gone right for New York State football either.
Yeah.
But Western New York
Buffalo
football
Bills,
isn't exactly lighting the lamp, shall we say?
I'm assuming you're referring to the Bills on that one there, Brad?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how in the world do you blow a game like that?
I haven't watched much football, so I don't know.
That was incredibly tough to take. I mean, I like Buffalo. I watch a lot of their games, and I don't know what the heck has happened to Josh Allen. I'm hoping that they think he's so bad that maybe they'll trade him to the Giants, and then we can fix it.
Right. But it's not an entirely bad idea to take it easy on Saquon if you're not playing for anything because he's so injury prone. You know what I mean? Let him get his reps. Let him stay in there. You know what I mean? He's a competitor. He has his own incentives, too, I'm sure, to go for. But you can see, in terms of if you're talking about like a fantasy play or a DFS play, it's something to consider that you stray away from him.
I wouldn't kill him. I definitely wouldn't if I'm the Giants. I mean, listen, you got a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter, then he's getting the ball every play. But
sure.
But other than that, I mean, the way they've been playing lately, if it's if the game's pretty much over, don't waste his body on that.
All right, and we will now move on over to the second period, and the first actually. Usually when you count, you start with one. Anyway, so we'll go over to the first period, Flyers versus the Hurricanes preview, although we have talked a little bit about it. We'll dive a little bit more in. And that is brought to you by, if you are looking to buy or sell a home, or you're looking for a change of career or brokerage, contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820, or visit him at alan.foy@exprealty.com. So, the first period, we bring to you Flyers, Hurricanes preview. And obviously, big news that was going around is that Carter Hart should be back in net for the Flyers. Apparently, the reason why he was not playing in the California trip was that San Jose sabotaged him. Apparently, they gave him some bad fish. And that's why he was not able to play the game of food poisoning. That's the word going around. And by the way, I also want to say, whoever put out the article, I forget who it was, someone put out the article, Carter Hart traded, and it was one of those clickbait articles. And they said, Carter Hart to the Oilers, rumor gaining heat. And I just wanted to strangle whoever that person was. So you know who you are. I'm coming for you. Anyway.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Well, they're going to continue to come out, though, Maddie, stories like that because, the way that this team drafted, the way they built up their goaltender depth, they've set themselves up that if the organization should slip further, then maybe you can explore that and you still have the depth behind it. So people are always going to grind those gears. But until that point, Carter Hart is the fucking man. Shut your mouths. That's number 2 curse. One more and I'm done.
Oh, man. That's good. I like it. Rob's cursed more than me.
Hey, listen. He brings up a valid point, though.
Yeah.
He brings up a valid point though, because he's right. I mean, the Flyers did a great job drafting this year. I thought, and we'll get a little more into this. You know, Denver Barkley having a phenomenal year, had a huge week this week, but that's not the point. Anyway, you know, the goaltending situation is so deep right now that you know you can have these rumors where people are going to start saying Carter Hart to here, Carter Hart to here, Carter Hart to here. There's a lot of I'll get more into this around the league, but there's a lot of talk and a lot of potential rumors coming out of Edmonton, especially after firing of Jay Woodcroft. And like I said, we'll get more into that later. You're going to see it, and Carter Hart's going to be the expendable one because right now you have Sam Ersson who's playing. He's had a really good last couple games. You have a serviceable backup in Cal Peterson. You just drafted this kid, Bjornstrom, who's apparently going to be a really good goaltender. You draft him in the second round. He's best goalie in the draft. So, you know, you're adding depth there. And, you know, it's because of all the changes going on in Edmonton, you know, so you're going to see it. I've heard that the Flyers are taking calls on Morgan Frost right now. Let alone now if they actually move him, that's a whole nother story, but they're receiving calls on him.
Well,
it's again, we also have to remember, as much as we love this, as much as yes, it is a game, it's a business at the end of the day too. So teams are going to do what they need to do to make themselves better or put themselves in better position for positioning for the playoffs, draft, or what have you, depending on the team situation. So we just got to keep that in mind. That's all.
I will say
nothing's going to happen before the trade deadline. So
probably
right. But I will say that when I saw Morgan Frost score that goal in Anaheim, I thought, I was like, okay, I see you, Morgan. I see you up in that trade value. That's pretty much all I thought of at that moment.
Opportunity to get out, because it's not. Is it mere coincidence that it took him so long to sign that contract? It was lingering out there as a restricted free agent, and then all of a sudden, you know, when there's a time period where you have a log jam of forwards, he's consecutively getting sit by Tortorella. The relationship has been strained, so the debate is out there that he just doesn't like that guy. So if he is playing for an opportunity to ship out elsewhere, well, at least the Flyers can reap that benefits now. You explore that if you feel like you can't rebuild with this kid. If you feel like you can rebuild this kid, then you close that phone. You hang up that phone right away.
Yeah, we have our own little situation like that right now with a certain superstar.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know, like I said,
I don't know
it's a good problem to have, but injuries will happen. It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is. And here's the downfall to that, because I'm gonna kind of build off of this through Anaheim, because they're going through a similar situation with Trevor Zegras. He waited so long to sign a deal. Pat Verbeek backhanded him a couple times on some of the offers. I still think he signed a deal just to get on the ice because he knew it was getting close. He's not getting fair value. He's got 2 points on the season so far, and now he's going to miss a little bit more time because now he's on the IR with a lower body injury. Honestly, would I be surprised if Trevor Zegras comes out and says, I want out? No, I wouldn't be surprised about how things went this offseason. And I know we're getting way off topic here, and we're off the tracks here a little bit, but it's similar in that situation is because, you know, maybe it's a situation where he doesn't like maybe Morgan Frost doesn't like Tortorella, doesn't want to play for Tortorella. You know, it's something that's going to play out in time, and it's not anything that's going to happen obviously within the next day or two, but yeah, this is something just to keep an eye on. It's a storyline throughout the season. What's going to happen with Trevor? What's going to happen with Morgan? Where's things going to go? If Trevor winds up playing out his entire contract, is he going to resign? Because he's going to be UFA at the end of the contract. Will he test free agency? Will he get his market value? Because somebody probably overpay for him.
Maybe his talent does warrant it. But we got Mean Metal Mike. What's up, Mike? Saying, what's worse than Philly, trading Carter Hart, not re-signing Aaron Nola, or Jalen Hurts getting hurt early in his career?
All the above.
Well, for me, it would be trading Carter Hart. I mean, Phillies and Eagles, that's a whole different ball game. I'll leave that up to the rest of the fam and the rest of the A2D fam to figure that one out.
I think right now it's trading or not re-signing Aaron Nola.
Well, Brad, question. Since you're on the outside perspective, what do you think would be worse for Philly?
Hurt's getting hurt
Mm-hmm.
because I think they're the closest to a championship right now, as far as all the teams are concerned. All of them. I mean, it's not really even close. If the Phillies don't re-sign Nola, there's plenty of really good pitchers out there whom they could sign to replace him. And he's kind of replaceable. Jalen Hurts is not replaceable. You are not going to find good quarterbacks do not grow on trees. And in baseball, there is a wealth of top pitching free agents this year. And, when leaves, you'll get somebody else because there are other guys available who, in my opinion, might even be better than Nola. So,
No way.
I agree with you, though. I think the general consensus of this city, of the Philadelphia fan base overall, is going to say Jalen Hurts getting hurt is going to be the worst thing to happen.
It's trading Carter Hart. Because you know what? The Eagles could do well with a backup. And after all, that is Mariota. It could finally come to fruition there in Philadelphia as it did in 2017. Trading Carter Hart, trading my son, that's the worst thing that could happen.
Absolutely.
No. I agree. It's absolutely Jalen Hurts. You're right.
I'll tell you what, though. If the Flyers hold on to Carter Hart till the trade deadline, and one of the top teams in the league, and it could be Colorado, actually, doesn't fix their goaltending or somebody gets hurt, they could pull the biggest heist of the season. I mean, they really could. That's why you guys got to be, if you have all these good goalies in your system, I mean, seriously, you guys could pick them clean.
Could you imagine if we traded Carter Hart away to Colorado and we got Alex Newhook when the Flyers originally were trying to go grab him and Colorado said no, and we get Cale Makar? Oh my God, could you imagine if we got the two guys that the Flyers had the most interest in? I might actually laugh my ass off at it, but also at the same time would be so intensely happy. I don't know what to do at that moment.
Well,
I don't know about Makar.
My hands as far away from me.
You're getting a little carried away with Makar, but Newhook, yeah.
Well, no, not Newhook. He's not in Colorado. He got traded to Montreal in the offseason.
That's right. I forgot all about that.
He did get traded to Montreal.
And then he signed a new contract with them, too. I think it was a 3-year contract.
I totally blanked on that, to be honest with you. But it would have been funny if it had played out.
Nicolishin, is that his name? On Colorado, the center?
Nikushkin.
Nikushkin, okay. Yeah, I can never pronounce his name right. Yeah, you get a guy like him and maybe a first-round pick.
That's a good grab.
You guys could swipe. You guys could pick them clean. You could pick Edmonton clean. I mean, there's so many teams right now that they're having struggling problems in goal, and if it's not fixed by the playoffs and Carter Hart's playing in top form, I mean, I'm not saying you should trade him, okay, but I would listen and hear what somebody says, and if somebody is going to do something that's going to make your team better and have your team set for the next 5 years, hey, that might be the time to go do it, but not now.
Right.
Nobody's that desperate.
Or you could do something intermediary there, Brad, where you trade one of your guys on the lower pecking order for a smaller piece. You know what I mean? Like you trade, say if someone's looking for a serviceable backup in a Cal Peterson, a Samuel Harrison, even if you wanted to move.
Harrison's been playing pretty well, I think.
Right,
yeah.
Right. If he builds up value, you have depth to have another backup in his place. Is my point.
Yeah, I mean they got the kid in the minor leagues. I mean,
right.
He's eventually gonna be the backup, and he may eventually be number one. I mean, maybe the Flyers wait till he's ready to step up and come into the league like the Rangers did with Shesterkin before they, bought out Lundqvist. Maybe that's what it's going to take before they do it. But at some point, if somebody makes the right offer, they'd be crazy not to take it. Because one thing about goalies, they're like pitchers. It's hard to get one, and you can definitely pull off a heist to get to if you trade them. Just be patient, be smart, and make sure make sure that you've got somebody else who can step in. That's all.
Well, Priz, what's going on, Priz? He was saying maybe Byram, but no chance at Makar. And he also says, I think the best deal the Flyers could get if they did trade Hart would be Byfield.
Good luck with that one, too. I mean, I don't see LA moving him at all. And we also got to remember, too, in order to move Hart, Flyers are going to have to be out of a playoff spot. And right now they're not far out. And if they're going to compete, I don't see Carter Hart getting moved regardless of the expectation for the season. So we got to keep that in mind as well.
Right.
By the way, hi, Eileen. And
prayers up.
Also says, missed the 90s years of hockey. And Mean Metal Mike bringing up rest in peace, Roman Czechmanic. Yes, sadly, the former Flyer goaltender did pass away. Shocking, really. Very young, too.
So many guys in their 50s and 60s, Brad. We got to start working out more. It's going to be me next. I swear to God.
Don't say that.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
I
get nervous. I get nervous.
And what's up, Don?
What's up, Dave? I'm not going to make it past 75. So, I got family heritage on my side on that one. So I already know that.
Gotta live for the day.
I take care of myself too.
That's what's key.
Somebody's going to do it. It may as well be you.
I take care of myself. I'm at the gym almost every day. Like, I'm still going to die at 75. I know it. It's just a family trait. That's all. That's all it is. I'm not going to make it past 75. It's all good. I don't want to live past then anyway.
You say that now.
Yeah, you say that now, and then you're 80. And be like, what did you say again, Brian? That you weren't going to make it past 75? I'm going to call bullshit on that.
You'll be in the rocket chair. I'm on borrowed time. Right now. I can go at any moment.
Hit me up in 40 years, Maddie, and see if you remember that.
If I do, I'll actually be impressed. I'll impress myself on that one because I bet you I will never remember. Let's see here. Prizane also, if LA thinks Hart could help them win a cup, you make the trade. The Stars did it with a Ginla for New.
Nieuwendyk.
Yeah, Nieuwendyk, yeah.
Yep. There it is.
So, all right, gents. I know we didn't really do too much talking on the Flyers versus the Hurricanes, but do you got a final score you want to throw out there?
I'll go first real quick. This is like Brad said, this is a team you got to be patient with. This Carolina Hurricanes team brings a lot of speed. They bring a hard physical defense. They have solid goaltending, and they have the goaltending depth to go with it. They do roll all four lines really, really well. That's a huge thing for them. And, they got guys that can score on every single line. You got to be careful with that. The Flyers defensively have to be patient. They have to allow these guys to get into the corners, and they have to attack in the corners. They have to win the puck battles in their own zone if they want to have any kind of chance. They did that really well in the first meeting between these two teams, and they got to continue that. The one thing that I do like about this offense right now, and we'll get a little bit more into it in the next segment, is they've been crashing the net. Got to keep that up as well. You got to get these guys, got to get bodies in front of the goaltender, shoot the puck any chance that you can get. Don't look for the pretty play. Look for the dirty play, get some dirty goals, and I guarantee that's a win. I'm going to say I think it's going to be similar to what it was before. I think the Flyers they're going to fall, to go with what I said during the face-off. I think they lose 4-3 to Carolina in overtime.
Okay. So at least you get a point in the standing, right? Robbie, what are you feeling on that final score?
Well, last time they faced each other, that's what we could look at, right? That's the case study evidence that we have, and we saw that this Carolina Hurricanes team's outshot this team 32-28, but Flyers had 19 hits to their 11. They played a very physical game, with a team that can dish it out. So, I mean, that's a good sign, right? And I think a key factor here, or key stat, I should say, was the Flyers had 12 high danger scoring chances in that game, 12, and only scored 2 goals. As long as they finish those goals, you got to think law of probability you're going to get more than 2 off of 12 high danger scoring areas. In comparison, the Carolina Hurricanes only had 4 in that game, and yet put up a 3-2 win with Teravainen's late goal. So you continue that press, you continue playing a high press system, which they've had with a lot of confidence in the offensive zone, looking for the open man. I think this team can be defeated. I think this team can be defeated at home, and it'll be a 3-2 Flyers win in this case in regulation.
All right, then. Brad, what's your final score?
4-2 Flyers. They get the empty net goal. I think the Flyers are going to end the drought on their power play, because it looks like their power play has been woe begone. If I read that correctly, they only have 4 power play goals.
Yeah, I think when they were rolling into Anaheim, they were like 0 for 21 in their more recent. It's just bad.
They're gonna fix that. By the way, if you take a look, Carolina has given up a lot of goals this year, a lot more goals than they usually do. So, you know what? The Flyers can score. Okay, my team scores. You guys have 1 more goal than we do. I know you played an extra game, but still, if I'm happy
we
with
needed it
offense, and you guys have scored 1 more goal than us, I think you guys are doing okay offensively. So I said, just defensively, make the smart play, make the safe play. Don't go for home runs. No high risk stuff. Don't give them stuff. And play well defensively and look for breaks. They're not going to have Anderson playing goal. Okay, so they may have good depth in goaltending, but they're still not Anderson.
No,
because regular season Anderson is very, very good, as we all know.
Yeah. So
just play smart and play a good, sound road game, and come out on top. And don't take stupid penalties.
Right.
The fourth line's got to be disciplined in this game. That's the one thing they've got to do. That can't be making can't be going to the penalty box.
It's freaking Anaheim.
Unless you want to beat up Aho.
I don't know, Brad. They have been looking good on the shorthand too, with a lot of offensive chances during that. I think it's key. I think it's as long as this team's finishing, and they've been finishing a lot lately. Joel Farabee, I mentioned him before. Cam Atkinson has been depositing the puck in the back of the net like we know he can, right?
Yeah,
and
8 goals now. That's
right.
Pretty good. See, I did my homework.
I like it. The eye test is that
Sanheim's having a very good year, and what's his name? Konechny has 9 now?
Yeah, Konechny's having
a pretty good year too. I mean, that's he's only 1 behind Kreider, and it seems like Kreider scores every game. So that's pretty darn impressive. So play smart, be good defensively, wait for them to make a mistake. Don't force it. As I said, 4-2, they get a late empty net goal.
New Metal Mike says 5-4 Carolina. For me, I'm going to go 3-1. Flyers win that, and they get an empty netter. I think it will be a tight battle, but I think the Flyers get an empty netter at the end to seal it off, and they win 3-1. All right, then. So we continue forward to the second period, and before we dive in to the Flyers recap of their West Coast swing, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have all of that we wish to talk about here, any major things we saw that we want to bring up, so that way, we make it seem like we're smarter than we actually are. But in the end, though, we'll dive back into that. But first, here's a quick word from our sponsors.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom-reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My Nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat john. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
All right, and now we could dive into the second period. In the second period, we're going to talk about the recap of the Flyers West Coast swing. Any major things that you guys wanted to bring up during those 3 games out in Cali?
Well, real quick, Brad elicited a memory that I had of that game against the Ducks, and that was our old familiar friend Ratko Gudas being beat like a rented mule by a defenseman, again, coming out on the offensive pressure. And again, it's Travis Sanheim having a career year this year. We got to give the man credit. He had to step up because you lost Ivan Provorov, and he's stepping up and showing good defensive prowess as well as a knack for the net.
You're right. I mean, I think it was Sanheim who danced his way in and actually scored a nice, pretty little goal. So
that was on Gudas, right? That was,
right,
if memory serves me correctly. Yes.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, got to give credit where credit is due. I mean, I know I've been...
He tried to stick out the leg, the dirty MFer. It was almost number 3 right there. It was almost number 3. But I held that.
Are we surprised? Are we surprised by that? It's Radko Gudas.
It is Gudas, yeah.
I'll say this. I'll say this though. In his defense, he's been a good signing for the defense. I mean, the Ducks defense is just so much improved from last year, and I mean, obviously, Flyers putting up 6 against them kind of hurts that, but yeah, that was bound to happen. And one of my biggest takeaways from this entire road trip was you go in, you shit the bed against San Jose. I mean, you played a pretty good game, but Mackenzie Blackwood, he does have the Flyers numbers, even going back to his days with the Devils.
True.
He just plays the Flyers well. And to what Matty said earlier, Mike Greer, yeah, he had some words to say before that game, and they really responded. Not only did they come out and they beat the Flyers 2-1, but they came out and beat the Edmonton Oilers as well. So they came out and they won 2 games pretty much right away, right after that. They kind of started to set the tone a little bit better. But my biggest takeaway is after that game in Anaheim, you start crashing the net. You start winning puck battles in the corners. You start going to the dirty areas to start getting some scoring chances off of there. It worked. You got 6 goals off of who was in net that night? I think it was Dostal. I think Dostal was in net against the Flyers. And that's no small feat either. Lucas Dostal is going to be the future for Anaheim. And like I said, defensively, they've been really good all season long. They've been able to put some pucks in the net too. You held the Ducks to 1 player scoring 3 goals. So that's another tough feat that they had in that game. And then you go out and you continue it in LA against a tough playoff potential Stanley Cup contender. just keep doing what they're doing. They're doing the little things right. They respond well after a loss. They come out better than they did going into the loss, and they just, they got to find the consistency, and they will find it as the season goes along, and these guys get more and more comfortable with each other. And Sean Couturier, he's playing phenomenal. Cam Atkinson's playing really good. Sanheim's taking a huge step forward. You need the guys to step up. They're all stepping up, and they're responding to John Tortorella. It's been huge for them, and it's going to keep resulting in wins. They just got to keep up the effort. The effort this entire road trip has been really good. I didn't see the goals in San Jose, but the effort was there. It paid off in the next 2 games, and hopefully they can see it continue to pay off against Carolina.
Don done saying, fellas, I know it's early, but all of our teams might have a chance to make the playoffs. Well, hold on. Pull it back.
Let's go.
Listen, I love the way the Flyers are playing right now. For the Sharks, they're screwed. They are SOL. But for the Flyers, let's pull it back a minute here. Yes, they've been playing with that tenacity and that fire, but it's still way too early to be talking playoffs right now. Let's wait until after the All-Star break. Maybe we'll have a better idea then.
Because knock on wood, this team has experienced relatively good health. What happens when guys start falling off like leaves off trees, like we're seeing here in early November here in New Jersey? So you're going to see, and then when your depth is tested, can you still find way to finish goals and win hockey games? Yeah, you can still be competitive, but that finish will lack if you lose some of your elite players. So I mean, that ultimately in the end, that's what they're building here. Is depth to withstand such situations like that.
True, very, very true.
Depth is critical.
And as for the Rangers, we already know they're making the playoffs. That's not even a debate at this point.
Well, how do you like the fact that they're doing this without Fox and without Shesterkin? That's pretty impressive.
Must be nice.
Right. Losing your elite players and still find a way to win hockey games, i.e. New York Rangers. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, they're lucky. That guy Gustafson that they signed, who knew that he was going to be this good?
Give Louis Domingue some credit too.
Louis Domingue, he played a great game the other night. Oh my God, against Minnesota. I mean, in the second period, it was basically 5-on-none for 20 minutes with Minnesota dominating, and he just made save after the only shot that beat him was a deflection. And the Rangers woke up in the third period and flexed their muscles and won the game. But I mean it's very important that you have guys that can step up and you have depth on your team. That's the whole point. It doesn't. I mean, they've won 4 games. No, I'm sorry. They're 3-0-1 without Fox and Shesterkin. Now if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that would happen, I would have been very, very surprised.
So, honestly, I don't think I ever want to see the Rangers.
Still hurting from last week, Don. That was pretty painful. It was 5-0. It was 5-0, and then the Rangers went out for a cup of coffee and gave up 3 goals. But I mean, it was 5-0 by the time Detroit realized what hit it.
I will say this: the Rangers did take lunch in that game. They just thought that this game's over.
Hey, they just want to give Ranger fans and the betting public a little sweat. You know what I mean? You're watching the game, you want a little sweat.
Or somebody had the over and they had to give up some goals.
Refs are coming in the locker room. Listen. I got the over tonight. You guys aren't touching that. I need 3 goals on Detroit. No, let's go. Let's make this happen.
There you go.
All right. So,
well, I mean, think about it today. Like, you don't think the refs are in any sport?
Let me tell you something. That Ranger Blue Jacket game, I have never seen so many people still, and it's Tuesday now, okay? And the Rangers won the game against Columbus. I have never seen so many people so furious with the officiating on Sunday night. I mean, they called back a goal when the puck was clearly in the net, okay? And they gave the excuse that the referee meant to blow the whistle. Of course, he waited 15 seconds after the puck was in the net to finally blow the whistle. And then when, and the puck was obviously in, they showed it on the screen. The fans went crazy. And then the referee came. They had a 10-minute delay because they actually needed an excuse to not give him a goal.
Oh, wow.
Then Corrali goes and he elbows Lindgren in the head. Lindgren's out now with a concussion. The original call was boarding, but no. Toronto called. They didn't want to see him get a 5-minute major, so they gave him a 2-minute minor. Meanwhile, Lindgren may not even play on Saturday against the Devils, but that wasn't a major penalty.
Yeah,
not at all.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. I really do think that they're as bad as the NFL. I said it during the week. There's definitely. I mean, they must have in 10 minutes figuring out how to take the goal away. They're probably trying to figure out, okay, what kind of excuse do we have? Can we come up with to not give him that goal? I mean, we all got the under, right?
Right.
Yeah, or something stupid like that, or we have Columbus in what we have Columbus in 1.5. So we can't let that one go in because then it would be 2-2 after the Rangers were getting dominated. We can't give them that goal. So anyway, I've never seen so much complaining after a win from a fan base as the Rangers. I mean, I swear today they still wanted to beat up those referees. They're still so angry about that. I thought you guys were bad. We complain when we win.
Although Eagles fans complain when they win, so there you go.
yeah, they do. Yeah,
I would like to see Anaheim kill off this penalty and start getting some offensive pressure here. They've been spending too much time in their own zone in that first period.
So, one thing I did want to pull out from the 3 games out in Cali and LA, give it up to Cal Peterson redeeming himself.
Yeah.
After getting smoked in Philly 5-0 from his old team, he had a mission that night. I remember looking at the footage of him before when he was suiting up. That man was laser focused going into that night. He didn't even know he was going to play that night, too. He got very short notice, apparently. And he walked in there laser focused, ice water in the veins, only gave up 1 goal that whole night. And the Flyers smoked the Kings. It's like, you know what? That is all Cal Peterson right there. That guy went in there with a mission to give the you-know-what to his team.
Yeah.
No, that's
35 saves, 946 save percentage.
That rink is Flyer Gardens West. I'm telling you, it's amazing. 20 games over 500 in their history on the road against a team like the Kings. That's amazing.
And ironically, Morgan Frost doing his best Mike Richards impersonation, having a real nose for the net in that game, especially on the second goal, taking a feed from Sealer behind the net. Hey, I mean, if he's playing for a position here or elsewhere, that's great, but it's still good to see him having that nose for the net and just overall, just guys finishing plays. That's what's great to see.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the Tortorella system. Tortorella wants guys to stand in front of the net.
Oh, Fowler, what the hell?
Right.
So that's key.
Right.
So before we go to unless there's anything else, did anybody else want to bring up anything else for the Flyers recap?
No,
like I said, I think overall I've liked how the defense has played. Like particularly giving love to the second pairing of Sealer and Walker, as I was alluding to there, and I said earlier in the show. But Belpito and Mete stepping up too, having good games. Like, what was really going to be what I thought was the defining weakness of why this team couldn't be a playoff contender might not necessarily be a strength, but certainly not a weakness either.
True. Joey DiMardino wants to know, Brad, since you call the Phillies the Sillies, what do you call the Flyers?
The Criers.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah,
That's an infamous one.
That's an old one. I mean, you come up with something. I should probably try to think of something new. But I mean, as I
I
said,
like the sillies.
right now I have no axe to grind at all with the Flyers right now. I mean, my favorite coach that ever coached the Rangers is coaching the Flyers right now, and I always root for Tortorella. So, as long as it doesn't get in the way of the Rangers' problems, of course I don't mind seeing them play well.
That's fine of you. That's fine of you there.
I mean, if we play you in the playoffs, I'm sure things would change. But
That's the shame of it. You're on the show now, and of course the Flyers aren't a playoff team, and the Rangers are. That's a shame.
Yeah. By the time you are, we'll be probably too old to compete with you guys.
I've never heard the sillies though. That's good. I've heard of the filthies. I've heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but it doesn't. It's not as mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to, if you're going to say something, if you're going to have a nasty nickname for a team, you want to be as mean as possible. Like when somebody calls the Yankees the Stankies.
Yeah.
Or the Skankies.
Right.
That kind of that's like a really nasty one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There are other ones, but that's the one. That's what I think the Red Sox fans call us. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So
whatever,
on to the
we have
third
plenty of names
period
for them.
we go. We go on to the third period here. And brought to you by Alonzi Travel, specializing in creating the vacation of your dreams, whether it's to Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls to. Let their talented team of travel experts create the custom vacation for you. Ritz and Chucks are the two guys from A2D to hit up about that. Rob should know. He used them to have himself a nice little vacation down in Florida.
I want to go back already. It's so cold here in Jersey.
The mean wake-up call. Damn, I'm back.
Yeah. Well, working with you guys, it's a lot easier to come back because it's like life's a dream.
Right, there you go.
There you go.
Whatever makes me sleep well at night. Yeah.
This is my nightmare. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry, boys.
Apparently.
Sorry, I meant to think that. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Stop thinking out loud, Bri. It's dangerous.
Good. I love you guys.
All right. You can imagine what you'll say. What'll happen if you say what you're thinking to a hot lady walking down the street? Like, oh God. I don't know if Bri would live through the experience.
I can probably guarantee you not.
All right. So on to our third period, and today we'll be debuting a new segment, and this segment will be Game 7s. So we're going to go into the history of different Game 7s throughout the NHL's illustrious playoff history, and there are plenty to bring up and plenty to talk about because Game 7s tend to be wild, crazy, out of control, mostly because the series that preceded it is wild, crazy, and out of control, and sometimes a boring series gets a great Game 7. Sometimes a really great series gets a bad Game 7. Either way, it's unpredictable. You can never tell. So, in the debut of this, I will be hosting this, and these gentlemen, of course, will be throwing in their smart aleck comments the entire time, I'm sure. And
locked and loaded, baby. Let's go.
we are going to debut the segment, and yes, you can throw this at me as a homer pick all you want, but I figured I might as well start at the home base to get us going. We are going to go back to the year of our Lord 2010, and we are going to go to the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Boston Bruins. It was the fifth time these two teams met in the playoffs. First time since 1978, by the way, when they met that year. And they had met earlier, ironically, in the Winter Classic in Fenway Park, which the Bruins won 2-1. That was a very tough loss to watch, by the way. Yeah. Even tougher. In the build-up to this Game 7, the Bruins had won Game 1, 5-4 in overtime. Mark Savard had come back from injury and scored, and his career got cut very short because of injury. Game 2, then they won 3-2, and the Bruins were up 2-0. Then Game 3, Bruins won 4-1, and that was the game I pretty much thought, yeah, that's it. we're done. There is no way we're coming back in this series now. But David Krejci did get injured in that game, so that definitely hurt the Bruins there because Mike Richards shoulder checked him and injured him. God, Mike Richards was awesome. Anyway, Game 4.
Yes.
Game 4, though, the Flyers showed life. They won 5-4 in overtime. Simon Gagne, who had gotten hurt in the previous round, came back and scored an OT winner. That is why, of many reasons, he is my favorite Flyer of all time. Game 5, Flyers won 4-0, although Boucher did suffer an injury. Michael Leighton, who was having himself a career year, wound up coming back, preserving the shutout, and then in Game 6, he held the Bruins to only 1 goal, and the Flyers won that game 2-1 to tie the series up. That game also had a penalty shot, and Ville Laino almost scored on Tuukka Rask, but he made an amazing glove save. So, early signs that Tuukka was going to be a problem moving forward. Anyway, so now we're set up for Game 7. It's in Boston. The Flyers have come all the way back to tie this series up. The Bruins had a 3-0 lead and blew it. In goal that night, Michael Leighton once again, and for Boston, Tuukka Rask. And if you're wondering where was Tim Thomas, for some reason, Tuukka beat him out for the job that year. Also, I think Tim Thomas was hurt a lot during 2010. Anyway, first period. First goal goes to Michael Ryder of the Boston Bruins, who scores on the power play with an assist from Mark Recchi and Zdeno Chara. And then Milan Lucic got a goal at 9:02 to make it a 2-0 for the Bruins, and Milan Lucic got his 4th goal, and he was just a menace during that series. And the assist went to to Dennis Weidman and Johnny Boychuk. Then at 14:10, Milan Lucic got his 5th goal, and he got it unassisted. And I believe it was a bad turnover, too, that the Flyers gave him that allowed him to score. It seems like the Flyers are doomed. They're down 3-0 in the first period. Laviolette calls timeout. And he famously said, all it takes is 1 goal. 1 goal. And you could read it on his lips when you watched it from television at the bench. And sure enough, at 17:12, the weird pinball goal that it was, James Van Riemsdyk scored with an assist from Claude Giroux, and it was now 3-1. The Flyers had some life in them, and they carried that into the second period. And at 2:49, Scotty Hartnell, yes, he played before he was doing the intermission for the Flyers, scored that goal for the Flyers to pull them within 1. The assist was Ville Laino and Danny Briere.
Ville Laino, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a name.
And then at 8:39, Danny Briere, the man, the myth, the legend, Danny B himself, Mr. Playoff, shows up to give the Flyers a tied game. By the way, it was Danny's 7th goal by that point in the playoffs. He already had 7. So that's just let you know what Danny's all about. Assist went to Scott Hartnell, and now the game's tied, and the Bruins are in trouble. Third period. It takes 12 minutes and 52 seconds of it. But finally, the Flyers break through on a power play. Simon Gagne gets his 4th goal of the playoffs with an assist from Mike Richards and Ville Laino, once again showing up on the assist sheet, and the Flyers are up 4-3. The game literally mirroring on the scoreboard what happened in the series. Bruins go up 3-0. Flyers claw all the way back to take it 4-3. Michael Leighton holds on. The defense holds on, led by Chris Pronger at the time, and they win the series to send the Bruins home, and the Flyers complete the reverse sweep, only the 3rd team to ever do it in the NHL.
It's so
absolutely magical series, and there's a lot of footnotes to that series, and you hit upon a lot of there, Maddie.
That was very enjoyable, Maddie.
Thank you.
Very much so.
And I remember that happened right after the Yankees choked against the Red Sox. I did the same thing. And you know what? To see Boston and Boston fans were riding us. And when it got to get, I when it was 3-0, that series to me was an afterthought. I didn't even know it was 3-3 until all of a sudden, because the Rangers lost to the Flyers in the last game of the season that year,
right,
in a shootout to not make the playoffs. I didn't even know it was 3-3, but when I found out it was 3-3, I watched game. I was so happy to see that because the Boston fans were. It was finally like Now you know how it feels, big mouths.
Right.
Well,
Okay, you want to keep talking about blowing about choking? There you go. We may have
Right.
choked on the grass, but you choked on
Right.
the ice.
Right. And Brad, they talked so much shit that year against the Flyers, stemming from that Winter Classic in Fenway Park and that tough loss that we took, Maddie. That was the Danny Briere jersey. You remember back from the CSB days where I got that from that year, right?
Yeah.
And to see that disappointing performance, downtrodden from that performance, and then carry forth. Of course, you're going to face them again in the playoffs, right?
Right.
And I mean, I had a lot of things going on. You boys know that have known me for a while. That's when my mom was real sick, and what wound up being our deathbed, and a lot of magic happening that year. But you saw Danny Briere chime in with a key goal in that down 0-3 in the series, down 0-3 in Game 7, total complete reverse. To go on and win that series, and so it was the jersey of Briere, and then Mike Richards, a key contributor in that series too, who we'll be seeing in the next Flyers alumni game back with the organization, which was real good, interesting to hear since we've last been on. So we'll see Richie back in a Flyers uniform pretty soon, which is great. But it was just, I really felt like this was a destiny thing, and because of that symmetry, that there was going to be a magic and they were going to go on to win the cup. But the Blackhawks had other ideas, and that's why now you can understand why I called them scumbags for years, because they hurt me. They crushed me. I was crushed. Because you know what I mean? Because everything that was going on in my life right then, it just seemed like this is a cup. We're going to have a cup. It felt like 94 all over again.
Oh, you know what's funny though? Like, if you think about it, like after he left Philadelphia and went to Buffalo, Billy Lano's career pretty much just completely fell apart.
It
You
did.
don't realize how much they needed him in that series and how effective he was in that Game 7.
He was
What, he
never
finished with like
really
3
heard
points?
from again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good in that series, but he was even better in the next series against Montreal. He torched the Canadians in the Eastern Conference Finals the next round. It was just like, what the hell? It's like Billy Lano just got grabbed too randomly by the Flyers, and it's just like, holy shit, this guy turns out to be pretty good.
And you know what? Maybe the Flyers are better for it because that happened, because he went on to get a nice little payday from the Buffalo Sabres just to
just to
Take
sit
a
there
big
and
shit.
right off into the sunset. Yeah.
Take a shit.
And it's nothing against Billy Lano. I just don't think he fit the Buffalo system. I think he was just looking for a payday. Maybe I'm wrong, but the Flyers don't get far without him. They don't have that success that they had in that season, in that playoff run, without Billy Lano. So I definitely tip my cap to him on that, because how far do they get if they don't have him? He had a phenomenal year that year. He deserved the contract that he got, but he shit the bed after that. So I don't know what to say.
It should also be noted, too, the Flyers rolled into that series without Simon Gagne and without Jeff Carter. They were down 2 guys, 2 major players rolling into that series. When they got Gagne back and they got Carter back, looking back on that series as I was watching the highlights and doing the research, you could tell the difference. It goes to show just how valuable Jeff Carter was and how valuable Gagne was. And if anyone ever wants to throw shade at either player, it's like, just look at that series. When they came back, that was a whole different ball game. And then when the Bruins lost Krejci because of an injury, that hurt them so bad to lose Krejci, because he was such an offensive machine for them. It's not to say they didn't have other weapons. They still had Shatan. They had Recchi, and Recchi was still scoring, and so was Shatan at the time. Chara could score when he wanted to. They had Lucic. They had guys who could score, but Krejci seemed to be that guy at the time. He really was the driving force of that offense.
Yep, no Pasternak. I mean, you still had to worry about Marchand. You still had to worry about Bergeron. Lucic at that time, he was a 20, 25 goal scorer, as well as being that physical terror. That 2010 team was just, for Boston, was just so good, and I thought that they were going to be that team to win it. Flyers had other thoughts, and you know what? To what Rob said, that entire season, that entire playoff run, even though it didn't end the way they wanted to, was magic.
It was the nice little magic run. And also Michael Ryder was on that Bruins team too.
Yeah. I forgot about Michael Ryder.
I did too, and then I started watching the highlights. I'm, oh my God, Michael Ryder! I haven't heard that name in a good long while.
Was he on the Canadians at one time?
Michael
Yes, he
Ryder?
did.
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
That's where I remember him from.
Yeah. So it's fun to be on both sides of that rivalry, right? Both Montreal and Boston. Anyway, so so that is the debut of the Game 7s. I'll be doing them again. Maybe not every week. We'll be coming up with something creative for the third period moving forward. But that was just the start. Just a little teaser. We'll continue this another time where I'll dive into another Game 7. And it won't just be the Flyers. It'll be everywhere. So it could be a series between the Rangers and the Canucks, possibly. It could be a series between the Ducks and the Kings or the Sharks.
Ugh.
It could be... or the Blackhawks.
Oh.
Well, some of the Rangers and Flyers have had some pretty memorable Game 7s.
That they have.
Going back to 73, 74, and then a
couple times in the 80s, right?
Yeah, 2013, 2014, and
yep.
There was one other one I just can't remember off the top of my head, but I think there were 3 Game 7s between the Rangers and Flyers, if I'm not mistaken.
That would make sense. That would make total sense, since they used to face each other literally every year.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, so there'll be plenty more Game 7s to come. Until then, that is that, and we're finished up with our third period. All right, so on to our overtime, brought to you by the doc once again, Dr. Paul Vidal, and also Gleason's Bar. If you're ever in the Levittown area of Pennsylvania, hit up Gleason's Bar at 6700 Mill Creek Ave in Levittown, PA. Use the promo code A2D for 10% off of your order whenever you dine in, take out. You go online at Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. And as said before, the doc himself, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy. All right, guys. OT. So we're going to do anything that's pressing around the league. Also, on top of that, the Hall of Fame inductions are today. So let's dive into that. So, Bri, I know you wanted to talk about the Hall of Fame. Why don't you lead the way here, brother?
All right. So over the weekend, we had the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. I don't know if anybody heard the class yet. So I actually just heard the class over the weekend. Somehow I missed it. So here's your 2023 Hall of Fame induction class. Tom Barrasso, goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Caroline Ouellette for her time on Team Canada. Pierre Lacroix as head coach. Ken Hitchcock as a head coach as well.
Nice.
Pierre Turgeon from the St. Louis Blues. And Mike Vernon, who apparently might be going in as a Calgary Flame, but more known for his time with the Detroit Red Wings. But
are you forgetting somebody?
I am not.
Oh, okay.
All headlined by the one and only King himself, Henrik Lundqvist of the New York Rangers.
I mean, that's a no-brainer that he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So, I mean, he was the best goalie of his generation.
He was spectacular, and shame on the Rangers for not putting a team out there in front of him that could win a cup.
He had an opportunity in, 2014 against the Kings?
Yeah, but the Kings were better.
They were. I hate to say
were better. They were bigger. They were bigger, and they were stronger, and they pushed them around. Rangers could not.
He was quoting D2 for a second.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to say they're bigger, they're stronger, they have more facial hair.
Yeah.
Well, they probably did. The Rangers got out muscled in that series, and they also had too many Game 7s in that series too.
Also, shut up, Averman. And then on top of it as well, I will say I kind of have to apologize to you, Brad. I mean, not that I'm really all that. Oh, we got a fight over between the Preds and the Ducks. Good Lord.
Yeah, good. You know all that with Lazon.
But I was going to say, I think the Sharks are somewhat to blame for the Kings winning that cup because that was the year that the Kings decided to do what the Flyers that I just talked about
Oh, that's
did
right.
to the
That's right. They were
Bruins.
down 3-0, and they came back and beat them.
Yeah, that was a rough one to watch. I remember watching that. It's like, yep, I can't have anything nice. I enjoyed that 2010 comeback so
Didn't they
much.
do
The
the
hockey
same-
god said, hey, guess what? Your other team, they're going to get it done to them by the Kings. Thanks. Thank
They
you,
also
guys.
were, if I remember correctly, they were also down 3-2 to the Blackhawks and won 2 games in.
They were in that series too.
Yeah, and they won Game 6 in Los Angeles to tie the series, and then they won in Chicago Game 7.
I think they won that in overtime, but I'm not 100% sure on
I
that.
don't remember. That was a hell of a series.
Both of the matchups were between the Kings and the Blackhawks. It was like, good Lord, these two teams were beating the piss out of each other in both of those series. But anyway, so great. I do love the class. You got to give the nod to Tom Barrasso. I mean, he was a major figure for the Penguins back in the day in a time period where it was still the live puck era. I mean, that man was phenomenal in net for them on a team that didn't play defense. And then on top of that, Mike Vernon, he'll go in as a Flame, but you know what? He'll always be remembered for those 2 cups with the Red Wings, like you were saying, Bri. I don't think he'll be remembered too much for his time in San Jose. But
no, not so much.
No,
I will say this though, Maddie. The goalie's got to be pretty stoked right now after 3 at the position were inducted for the first time in more than 60 years. So I mean, and that was the big take home for me from this Hall of Fame inducting class. And it's not a really big surprise though for me because this represents my youth and growing up in hockey. Lundqvist was more in college, but certainly with Barrasso and Vernon, that's when I started liking hockey and watching as a youth or whatnot. And going against all these guys that were scoring 80, 90 goals a season, these guys were able to perform during that era. So it's no big surprise that this happens for the first time in quick math, 63 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was my big takeaway too, was big goalie class. It's about time we get a big goalie class. It's long overdue. There were plenty of really strong goaltenders out there, and it was only a matter of time before the bulk of the class was.
What took so long for
goaltenders.
Barrasso, though? That I'd like to know.
I heard that.
I don't know.
I heard Barrasso wasn't afraid to tell people where to stick it. And I think it might have rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Ooh,
so I think that's what kept him out for so long.
They're all such big babies, God forbid.
But I give Vernon a lot of credit too. And what's up, Mark? But I will say this too. Give credit to Vernon too. He was a shorter guy. I think he was only 5'9". He wasn't very tall, and yet he played so well in goaltending. It didn't matter. It's like, wow. And he came in the live puck era. So he came in the late 80s with the Flames. So again, it's like, wow, the guy's shorter than most, and he still plays like he's 7 foot tall. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So good little Hall of Fame class right there with the heavy goaltending. Congratulations to everyone. Well deserved. Any other major things that anybody wanted to bring up for around the league?
Well, no, Brad, you want to talk about your Rangers, brother?
The Rangers, there's 2 teams I want to talk about, the Rangers and the Capitals. Because the Capitals, I almost completely given up on them after they went and they lost what's his name, the center, Backstrom. And they're playing incredible hockey right now. They're right there now, and I think they're in 3rd place. But the Rangers this year are just playing like monsters, and very fun to watch these days. After having to watch the Yankees, the miserable Giants, and the Knicks, who are okay, they're not bad, but to watch the Rangers, they've been a joy to watch so far, and they look like killers right now. Laviolette really has them playing well, and I just wanted to mention Lafreniere has become the man. It took him 3 years, but after that game he had on Sunday night against the Blue Jackets to score the tying goal with 11 seconds to go, and then That I don't know if you guys saw the shootout goal, the backhand shot. That was some shot.
I didn't see it, but I'm not surprised. I knew Lavi would be good for Lafreniere, and he's just the right man for the job here.
Absolutely. Yep. When the Flyers had just drafted Sean Couturier, Coots had a great rookie year because Lavi was still coach at the time. And by the way, Lavi was the coach of the 2010 Flyers, in case anybody was wondering. So he's reference to it.
You know what? He's a good coach.
He is
a lot better than things. I mean, what I'm trying to understand is, Gallant was there for what, 2 years? Okay. Mm-hmm. Why didn't Gallant ever let Lafreniere play with Panarin? I just curious because he plays with Panarin. Last year he never played with Panarin. They had him playing with the other two, Hedel and Crapo Kako, and they still, he had 7 goals. He scored 7 goals already.
Yeah, right.
And he got 7 goals in the middle of November.
Some coaches believe that the right thing to do is to spread out your goal scoring across your forward lines instead of putting your elite players together and dominating. And I mean, to me, I like the latter.
No, I like domination.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and
we're in the business of dominating.
The guy was getting third line minutes instead of second or first line minutes, which, he's the first pick in the draft. What the hell were you doing?
Were we talking about dominating on the hockey rink, or was it some other type of domination? I'm just saying.
No, the hockey rink.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
in sports talk for A2D. We dominate. Everybody else, all these clowns copying our stuff.
There you go.
That was almost for curse number 4. Almost.
As Captain Lou Albano used to say, often imitated but never duplicated.
Yeah.
By the way, Prism saying Barrasso and Vernon before Cujo is still questionable to me. I'll be honest, I think it's the Cups that got them in before Cujo. Right. Even though Cujo's a great goalie, he never did win a Stanley Cup, sadly.
Fair.
He was great, though.
He was. Thanks, Priz. By the way, our resident Penguin fan, Jim Infla, saying Crosby with the hat trick, one of the millions that he has in his career. 4 points.
But the go-ahead goal wasn't scored by Crosby, though. It was Carlson. I saw that shot. I was watching.
Penguins are hot. The Metropolitan Division's no joke.
No, the Penguins are red hot. The Capitals are red hot. By the way, the Devils came back from trailing Winnipeg The Devils had come back from a 2-0 deficit to tie Winnipeg. However, Winnipeg, this moment as I was talking, scored. So now it's 3-2 Winnipeg in the second period with a minute.
Very nice. Very excited. Yes.
So yes. So at least something is going right tonight in the NHL.
There's another fight between the Ducks and Red Ducks and Predators. What are you laughing at, Brian?
Ross Johnson, after he finished his fight, he threw Robbie Fabro to the ice.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
It wasn't even the guy he fought. He just tried to in his way.
Yeah,
That's why you bring Ross Johnson into Anaheim.
Ross Johnstone is no joke.
But yeah,
he's a tough player.
Real quick, couple news and notes here before we get out of here. Real fast, Edmonton Oilers fire Jay Woodcroft and replace him with Chris Knobloch, who Flyers fans know him as he was an assistant coach here for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Wasn't he a Yankee second baseman too?
No, that was Chuck.
Chuck Knobloch.
Chuck Knobloch. Right.
He also coached the Hartford Whale the last few years, and it's done a really nice job with the Rangers' younger players. I mean, they're, you take a look at some of them, how they're playing in the NHL now. It's done quite a job.
Yep. Stemming from those moves real quick is a little bit of displeasure coming from the Oilers locker room. Captain Connor McDavid has come out and said he's pissed. The locker room's pissed about the move. So they're not happy about it. So expect to see some changes. I'm not going to name names on this one, but definitely expect to see some changes in that Edmonton Oiler locker room if things don't turn around quickly. But these guys want to win; they want to compete. They know how good they are. Then they know their record does not say that they are a bad team, because they're not. They're just very one-dimensional. They're one or two lines and that's it. But don't be surprised to see some changes. But Edmonton Oilers fire Jay Woodcroft, replace him with Chris Knobloch. Let's see how that goes.
Making Prism look like the smartest man in the room.
As a Ranger fan, I hope I just hope that Knobloch does a good job. He did a nice job with the Rangers.
Cool.
John Malmos, let's see. But for you, Brad, I hope it's the second best record. It seems second best team always has issues. Well, actually, they have the third best record, but who's counting?
To be fair, though, John. To be fair, though, John, it's the President's Trophy winners that usually are out in the first round. Usually.
Yeah, we don't want to win the President's Trophy. Just win the division.
So, one thing I'll bring up too before we finish this, a hockey player, Matt Petgrave, was arrested, reportedly on manslaughter charges in the incidental death of Adam Johnson. The hockey player who had recently gotten his throat cut by the skate blade. So he was arrested in England and under suspicion of manslaughter. So that happened today. So, yeah.
I didn't know there was intent there. I get it, though. The hockey's a passionate game, but there's lines.
I mean, I don't know how much intent was there. I've seen the video. The guy doesn't really have like a track record or that, but if you watch the video, you'll see AJ kind of make his move at the last second. Petgrave winds up colliding with another player, causes his skate to come up. But I mean, I think this is the right move. I don't necessarily think their Chargers are going to hold, but I think it's the right move to kind of bring him in, question him,
just send
and
a
kind of
message.
go from there. Not even necessarily just send a message, but just kind of, it's a high speed game. Things happen. I think it was a freak accident. I don't think the Chargers are going to stick, but I mean, I think bringing him in, getting him one-on-one is going to. I just think it's the right move, and then you just move on from there. And it's this guy.
Again, a goal while Brian's speaking.
Always.
But also it's going to be an investigation because of the fact that a man died. It's going to be investigated by the authorities. And so obviously they're doing their due diligence and, taking care of filing and arresting and making sure that no stone is unturned in the investigation, basically.
Right. Yeah, it teaches people to be accountable on all levels and try to be responsible for your body. It's a hard game. You got to play it tough, right? But you got to keep the sticks down. We saw a penalty and a fine this week as well. To get the player, and I'm not going to try to think of it. I know we got to get rolling.
Man, Draisaitl. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yep.
Cross-checking somebody in the back of the knee.
Right.
Or sticking your knee out when a guy's got you beat.
Right. Judas.
Sebastian Aho.
Aho too. Yeah, true. Him too.
All right, gentlemen. So that'll do it for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. A bit of a somber note to end on. Sorry about that, but it was something that did happen in the hockey world. But hopefully things will be investigated, and I do hope that, the right decision's made on it, and that's the important thing. And see you guys. See you, Don. He also says the Senators suck.
Except Drew.
Yeah, except Drew. Drew's cool. John Malmos, take it easy, brother. Jim and Fla, everybody who chimed in. Prism, we love you guys. Thank you all very much for chiming in once again. And next week, we once again do not have a game to live react to. So we will once again do something to entertain you fine people out there. Don't worry. We're creative, I think. We'll come up with something. Anyway. All right. We thank everybody for joining us for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. From all of us here at A2D Radio and the fam, We hope that you continue to support us. And by the way, here's how you can become a member and get some nice little perks for yourself and for the shows as well. So thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Until then, peace and love, everyone. Stay safe out there.